Dear students, welcome now. Now the second factor is labor as a factor of production. We cannot assume any production function without labor. So we have to agree it. Now we are going to see one of the most important factor of production, that is labor. Then now what is called meaning of labor? Labor is a physical or mental efforts or ability for economic purpose. Labor is a physical or mental effort for economic purpose. It means any physical work or mental work for a remuneration or for wage or salary is called labor. For example, a doctor services or an engineer services, or for example it is a mental service, because see, there is a doctor. Doctor is a person who is dealing with his mental abilities. Is dealing with mental abilities means his knowledge. So this is mental exertion. Whereas a construction worker where he uses most of his physical ability, therefore it's a physical exertion. So physical effort, both are rendering their abilities towards a remuneration, both are doing for a wage or a salary. Therefore this is called labor. So at doctor it is a mental exertion or mental effort towards a salary or a wage, and a construction worker is also rendering his work towards wage, then it is called physical exertion or physical effort towards a wage. Therefore these two activities are called labor. It means either physical or mental exertion or efforts or abilities towards wage or remuneration, it is called labor in economics. So now hence we can say that any work done for the sake of pleasure or love does not represent labor in economic sense. As I said in earlier, any work done for remuneration is a labor. So now the statement is any work done for the sake of pleasure or love does not represents labor in economic sense. For example, a housemaid in a house. She is working in a house for wage. So therefore the labor of that particular maid is called labor, or the work is called labor. Whereas in some other house, a mother also works for the family. So the services of mother can be considered as labor? No, because mother works for sake of love and for her own family. So out of her love and affection, she renders lots of work to a family, but we cannot consider it as a labor. Whereas a housemaid's work, it is labor. It is labor. Another example we can take that a singer sings a song for a picture. Singer sang a song for a picture and she earns some amount of money. The same singer sang a song at his or her friend's birthday party out of her or his love and affection. There her services, means the singer services, are not considered as labor because the song was sung for her or his friend. Therefore it is not labor. So now we have understood what is called labor. Any physical or mental exertion towards remuneration only is called labor, and the one who does this is called laborer. He is called laborer. Myself, I am a laborer, and my work is called labor. Whoever in this world renders a work towards this remuneration, he is called laborer. Maybe he is a IAS officer, he is also considered as a laborer, and his services are considered as labor. So there is no discrimination in economics. Okay, so whatever work rendered for remuneration is called labor, and the one is called laborer. Now we are going to see the characteristics of labor. Labor we are going to study, not laborer. Okay, so labor is human effort. Labor is directly connected with human efforts, whereas other factors of production does not connect to the human effort. Labor is directly connected with, yes, my labor is connected with me, it means human, whereas land is not connected with human, capital it's not connected with. So that's why labor is entirely different one, it is directly connected with the human, that's why it is human effort. Next one, labor is inseparable from laborer. Labor is inseparable from laborer. It is another great quality of labor. It implies that whereas labor is sold, the producer of labor retains the capacity to work. Thus, a laborer is the source of his own labor power. It cannot be separated. For example, see myself. I am selling my services to a college or an institution. Can anybody separate it from me? No. For example, I am at a college and I am teaching over there. I am spending my time over there. It means the time cannot be separated from me. I must give the time and I must be over there. And though I am giving lectures, the labor cannot be taken away by anybody. So therefore, labor is inseparable from the laborer. The same way, doctor, lawyers, engineers, so their service, the capabilities, the knowledge cannot be taken away from the laborer. Next one is perishable. Labor is highly perishable. What is meaning of perishable? Which loses its value in very short period, it is called perishable. Labor is highly perishable. Labor cannot store his labor as he has no reserve price. Hence, the laborer has to accept the wage whatever is offered to him also. For example, say if I am not interested to work, can I store my labor of today? No, I cannot store my labor of today. If I do not work now, it means my labor of today is over, finished. It is perishable, highly perishable. I cannot use of today's labor at tomorrow. So it will be over. So that's why laborer has to accept whatever the price is offered at the moment. Otherwise, his labor will be perishable soon. That's why he loses the remuneration for his labor. That's why labor is considered as highly perishable. Next one, efficiency or power differs from laborer to laborer. Obviously, labor is with human being and efficiencies of human being differ from person to person. No two persons are exactly equal in any context. Take for example, a doctor. A doctor immediately may recognize what the problem is of a sick person. Another doctor may need a diagnosis to understand what the problem is. It means there are there are differences in the capabilities of the two doctors. So, labor or efficiency is differ from person to person. For example, a teacher may teach class excellent. Other teacher may not be able to deliver excellent lesson of the same topic. So therefore, there are differences in the efficiencies of labor in different people. This is called efficiency or power differs from laborer to laborer. Next one, weak bargaining power. Very sad thing, which is very important for the total production, but the labor has very weak bargaining power. It is because the laborer is economically weak. Always the one who is working in a organization is weak against the organization. That's why while the employer is economically powerful, these laborers cannot argue, they cannot bargain with the entrepreneur, or you can say the employer. So always they have to work, laborers have to adjust with the wage which is offered by the employer. That's why it is said that weak bargaining power the labor has. It is not only in one place, it is everywhere in the world. Labor is weak against organization. Now next one is, all laborers are not productive. All laborers are not productive. That is, when a person does something, it is not necessary that it must be successful always. Sometimes it may fail. When it is fail, it is said that it is not productive. So, all the efforts are not sure to produce resources. A scientist may be working on a concept. There is no guarantee that sure he will discover immediately. He has to spend a lot of time. Sometimes he may fail to discover something, or he may be successful. So, always it cannot be, labor cannot be successful. That is why it is called all labors are not productive. Next, mobile factor. Labor is mobile. Labor can be movable. The laborer can be movable from one place to another place easily. That is why labor is movable factor. So, I can move from one city to another city, one firm to another firm. So, it means that labor is movable. Next one, what is the price of the labor? That is price. The price of labor is wage. The price of labor is wage. So, this is how we have completed 8 characteristics of factors of production, labor. Now, we are going to see another very interesting character, that is the backward bending supply curve of labor. The supply curve of the labor is backward bending. So, I think we haven't completed the law of supply lesson. So, the law of supply says when price increases, supply will increase. Therefore, supply curve is always left to right upward. Whereas the supply curve of a labor is some extent it is left to right upward, and then after that, after some time, it will start bending backward. That is why it is called backward bending supply curve. Why it is? Because however, beyond a minimum level of income, the laborer reduces the supply of labor and increases the hours of leisure is response to a further rise in the wage rate. It means when a person reaches to some extent of wage rate, after that laborers will not be interested to work further, even though more wage is offered. Let us get into one small example. So, there is one worker, he is working at a normal level now, his salary is now 20,000 rupees, and company asked that he is working up to 4 o'clock. Company asked him to work one more hour, and they said we will give you 30,000. Then he will be very happy. Okay sir, I will work. Supply extended as wage increased. And after some time, the same firm asked him to stay one more hour up to 6 o'clock, they will give you 50,000. Then he will be very happy. Okay sir, I will stay for you, and he will be happy to work. And now the company asked him to work one more hour, and they said that 1 lakh is your salary. So happy that laborer is, and he is working up to 7 o'clock. Now he is earning 1 lakh rupee 1 month. So now after that they asked one more hour, and they said that they will give the worker 1,25,000. But the worker says, sorry sir, I cannot, because the 1 lakh rupee is maximum to this man in this example, and the 1 lakh rupee fulfills his all the facilities and comforts and luxuries. Therefore, the worker is not interested to work one more hour after 7 o'clock, because the leisure what he get after 7 o'clock gives him more satisfaction than working in the salary what they are offered. It means when the wage rate reaches to the maximum which satisfies all his wants and many things, when his wants are saturated and when his the income is reached to the highest position, hereafter the no laborer likes to give more supply of labor. That is why though there is increase in wage rate, after some extent of a salary, they will not extend their work. That is why the supply curve will be left to right bending, backward bending. So, this is called backward bending supply curve. We have completed all the factors, this one characteristics of factors of production, labor.